When you make the conscious decision to pick up a paintball gun and head out into the world of tournament paintball in search of adventure, what you're really seeking is a story. The fun and the challenge, the trials and the accolades, those all fade. Even if you're successful, the trophies will sit there and collect dust. The prize money will get spent. But what remains are the moments, the memories, a powerful story. Sunday has a special place in paintball. What happens on Sunday defines our sport. It's where our history gets written and where heroes are made. It's where all the hard work, the welts, and the time spent come together to create victory or defeat. What happens on Sunday is why people will remember your name. That's the story you're about to watch. Not just the story of one team or one player, but the story of a year. 1 year in the Pro Division in the National X-Ball League, the NXL. 5 tournaments, 20 teams fighting over 3 days until one remains, raising a trophy on Sunday. This is the story of 5 Sundays. A third NXL event every year is a reckoning. Historically considered the second hardest event to win, it's the tournament when everything that you've been planning and working towards is supposed to start coming together. If it's not, it's when the new shine starts wearing off. It's when the seeds of doubt could already be creeping in, affecting the future success, even the existence of your team. Situational awareness, teamwork, communication, offense and defense, gunfights. By the third event, all your excuses concerning these core elements of the game vanish, and you are forced to confront the reality of the team that you've built. You can't blame the winter weather or the lack of practice with the new squad. By Atlantic City, the third Sunday, the 10 teams who made it through to the later rounds must own their weaknesses and ride on the power of their strengths. By the wildcard match Sunday morning, the Los Angeles Ironmen were finally looking like they could make a run deep into the tournament. It has been 6 long years since the Ironmen had threatened for a win and taken a top 3 finish. The longest pro team in existence, 3 separate times, in 3 separate eras of the game. The Ironmen have made world title runs and been successful. Before the start of the 2018 season, Coach Todd Martinez and the Ironmen management team made moves to sign dynamic star players. The huge additions of Trevor Reeser, Damian Ryan, and Kyle Spica brought more firepower to their lineup. But their first 2 events were a massive letdown. They underperformed and they had a hard time putting points on the board. Everyone on the squad was over battling, dying too early, too often. But during the prelims in Atlantic City, things started to click. Led by Kyle Spica and the Snake, the Ironmen rolled through their first 3 games, taking down Red Legion by 1 and dominating Aftershock and Infamous. They finished with a blowout loss to X Factor, where they couldn't put a point on the board. They matched up with Baltimore Revo in the wildcard round, which turned out to be one of the lowest scoring games of the year.
We ended up coming out on top. We're hitting our shots off the break, playing well in all the spots, and reading the plays right. So all in all, we came out with the win. Like I said, hard-fought match though. It was a lot closer than the score shows.
Do you guys think you're playing the best that you have all season?
Absolutely. We only got more.
Came here looking for some pussy. Got some pussy. All the boys are buzzing.
Baltimore Revo started out their Atlantic City event with a tough loss, 2-5, to fellow Northeast team, rookies New York Xtreme. They then went on a 3-game run, ending with a 1-point victory against Impact. Any win against Impact is a confidence boost, so when they came into their wild card match against the Ironmen, they knew that they could beat anyone on any given day.
Feels good. We needed a win. Without that, we probably weren't moving on. Now we're 3-1. Most likely either playing the wild card or be first in our bracket, but it's a great feeling.
It's a long time trying to do that. It's been so long trying. It feels incredible. But the real rain started coming down. The real tournament starts tomorrow, but we feel like we got a good friggin' start to Sunday. Yeah, it was a pretty demoralizing loss to start the tournament, and we just knew we had to play perfect paintball, and I think we about did that.
It's Sunday, it's win or go home, so it's the biggest one yet. We got a couple extra things to throw out on this event, but we're going to stick to the game plans that are working because they're working.
Since Kyle Spica put up numbers in the Snake during the prelims, Revo knew they needed to shut him down or match him in order to have a chance to move on into the quarterfinals. In the first point, they were able to do just that, shooting Spica off the break while keeping 5 bodies alive. Damian Ryan made a move past the 50 in the center to shut down Revo's attack, but Stephen O'Mara bunkered him out. Dan Zaleski had just made it past the 50 into the crucial Snake 3 position that all Snake players had been working towards on this slow, tactical layout. Trevor Reeser tried to move on Zaleski, but was taken out. But then Zaleski was shot by Greg Sewers. Eddie Painter snuck in to hit the buzzer to give Revo the first point. In the second point, both teams were able to get 5 bodies alive on the break. It stayed 5-on-5 as the Ironmen and Revo burned a bunch of time off the clock locked in gunfights. After getting up ahead of steam, Spica was able to make it into the Snake, and he worked into Snake 3, but then was shot on a head check. Revo was trying to hold off the Ironmen as they pushed forward, with only 1 point on the board and 3:17 left. But Damian Ryan moved into the guns, fully committing with the Ironmen's tournament on the line. Eddie Painter tried to counter, but Damian shot him too. His 3-pack move tied up the game and allowed the Ironmen to stay in the match.
Like, how does he not? Yeah, you know what? I think Damian just...
I think that Damian got a little bit of a drop on him then, and Painter didn't want to get the penalty.
Well, Damian definitely stopped and checked himself.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. And there was 3 refs looking right at him from that angle too. So
the game ended up going into overtime, tied 1-1, where again Damian Ryan led the attack up the middle. The game almost went to 1-on-1s, as it was still 4-on-3 in favor of the Ironmen with under a minute left. But Damian and Greg Sewers were able to steal the win, getting the last kills and hitting the buzzer with only 21 seconds left, putting the Ironmen into the quarterfinals to face Dynasty.
Hey, way to fucking be, man. Let's go. Hey, they shut one side down. We got 2 other fucking places to attack. This is a fucking team. This whole tournament. Let's go. Whoa. Good shit, man. Way to step up. We haven't done shit. Good fucking game.
Hey, realize that that's how all the fucking points are going to be.
Yeah.
Okay? We got to fucking dig them out, man.
Hey, this is fucking awesome. We've done fucking nothing. Yeah. Forget about this shit. Look forward. Let's go, motherfuckers.
Just the tone. Let's go.
Hey, team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team!
With the fog still rolling in, New York Xtreme took on AC Dallas in their quarterfinal match. For the first time in their professional careers, rookies New York Xtreme had earned the right to play on Sunday. Their first game on Friday was a low-scoring win against Boom. They then took down Revo and Uprising, with both victories coming by 3-point margins. They then played Impact and barely lost by 1 to go 3-1 in the prelims, and got the bye past the wildcard round into the quarters. Just like Scottsdale Elevation at the beginning of the season, it was a proud moment for New York Xtreme, as some people had doubted if they could make it to Sunday in their first season as pros. They matched up against AC Dallas, a team constantly gaining confidence and respect from their peers. On paper, this tactical layout played perfectly into AC Dallas' style, and everyone felt that this could be their tournament to go deep into Sunday. If they could just get past the brash rookies from New York. The first point was easy work for AC Dallas as they slowly shot Xtreme out of their spots. Point 2 was a close fight, as it got down to a 3-on-3 situation. Will Hennessy tried to push forward into AC Dallas' line, but the consistent Matt Jackson was there to put a stop to it and put their second point on the board. Seeing a bit of desperation, AC Dallas rolled their guns and waited for Xtreme to start making mistakes, keeping up their pressure off the break. New York Xtreme had no answer, getting a penalty, losing bodies early in multiple points, and pretty soon they were down 5-0 with 4 minutes and 36 seconds, and on the brink of a mercy rule loss. Though Xtreme had noticeably improved from the beginning of the season, they put 2 points on the board at the end of the game for pride when AC Dallas adapted into a bend-don't-break mentality. Xtreme was eliminated from the event, and AC Dallas moved on confident into the semifinals.
They outsmarted us. This is a tough field. You know, first point pretty much wins the tournament. You know, it's long. Because after first point, you got to go to them, and it's tough to break the crosses. And we're trying to work hard, and we're gonna come back to the next event, and the event after that, and the event after that, and the event after that. So we're gonna be working. We're not going anywhere. So our attitude is, even if there's half a second left, we're gonna go get it. It doesn't matter. Even if they're up 5-0, 4-0, we're gonna come. So we just need that 1 second on the clock. After that, let everything else figure itself out.
In the other wild card match, Russian Legion battled Tampa Bay Damage, a rematch from the finals in Atlantic City last season, where the Russians won their first event since 2011. But this year, instead of for a win, this game would be for survival in the tournament. Played in the thickening fog, it was a game that would not disappoint. The Russians had a rough start to the event that they won last year, losing to both Infamous and the Ironmen on Friday, needing to win both of the remaining prelim matches to make it in, The Russians smashed Aftershock and beat X Factor 6-3 to get into the wildcard match. Damage also went 2-2, but their struggles were on Saturday, where they lost to both the ML Kings and Houston Heat, as they tried to find consistent offense on the slow field layout.
We actually definitely wanted to win, but we ended up losing 3-1. So we ended up actually in a weird situation watching the other teams next to us are in our bracket that we've already played, and we needed one team to win for us to get into. It's kind of a weird way to get into Sunday to play, but it's I mean if there's any way possible, then I want it. But there's definitely some things we got to clean up. Because for a while we thought we lost this whole turn. So one, we know what it feels like to lose. So remember that tomorrow. And then two, we learned how to play the field a little bit differently.
Both Damage and the Russians lost their attackers on the D side right at the start of the match, but the Russians took more ground and Damage got stuck in the pocket, enabling the Russians to put up the first point. During their wins in the prelims, the Russians had success on the D side of the field. Damage definitely did their homework scouting for this match, as they stormed back in the next point, shooting 2 off the break on the D side. Longtime veteran Dan Holiday got the key shot on young Smotroff in the Snake, and after burning some time off the clock, ran down Golev to tie the game. Damage took the next 2 points as well. With their off-the-break shots dialed in, they created advantages while working solidly in their bunkers, moving up the field, winning gunfights. It was 3-1. Legion was now down by 2.
Think fucking deep here, huh? Let's fucking go! Hey, whenever you're ready, let's get over here.
Facing elimination with 6 minutes and 14 seconds left in the wildcard match, but both Holiday and Montresor died at the same time. The rookie Vlad Kozyrev had done some good work on the D side after taking over for Kirill, with Burtnikov in the Snake, and after 3 unanswered points by Damage, the Russians pulled within 1. Legion was able to tie the game in the next point. Even though they lost Smotroff off the break, they quickly won gunfights and took back the momentum. The Russians continued to play aggressive, pushing up the center, but they lost too many bodies, the point, and the lead.
Damage out of nobody left alive now. So the Russians are just blasting Tampa Bay Damage right now in these last 2 points, 2 quick ones.
If the Russians,
some long ones.
If the Russians can survive the breakout, they can win the points.
Damage was holding tight with under a minute to go as the Russians pushed forward. Karslev and Kozyrev were able to break through the line and tie the game to send the match into overtime. In the overtime point, the Russians sent Smotroff, their kill count leader, to the Snake off the break, but they lost Kozyrev and went down a body. Smotroff got past the 50 and looked like he would win the game, but he overextended and was taken out. But the kill he got and the chaos he caused helped the Russians take ground. It went gunfight for gunfight all the way until the last body, but Denis Golev was able to get the last kill and push Legion into the quarterfinals, eliminating Tampa Bay Damage from the event. As fate would have it, the top 2 teams from the first 2 events would have to fight it out for survival in the quarterfinals at Atlantic City. Houston Heat versus Edmonton Impact. The winner would not only emerge as the favorite to win the tournament, but they would have a big leg up on the race for the series title. Houston Heat won all their games during the prelims, but they struggled to put up more than 3 points on the layout heading into Sunday. Impact was on the edge of their seats in 3 of their 4 prelim games. They beat Uprising and New York Xtreme by 1 point, but lost by 1 to Revo in the last prelim match. The adversity and struggle of close games and a loss or 2 can sometimes bode well for a team's chances if they can skate through to Sunday, as the difficult road tightens up the mistakes.
Are we here to fucking bicker over dumbass shit? It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. We need to fucking stop this shit. It's every fucking time. It's not JC, it's not Zach, it's not David Park, it's every fucking one of us. Grow the fuck up and move on. It's time to come to fucking together. No.
The quarterfinals match started out well for Impact as they shot 3 bodies off the break and took the first point. When Impact gave it right back to Houston Heat in the second point, when Chad George and Ronnie Dizon stepped up after going down a body early. In the next point, with the game tied 1-1, both teams lost a body. Heat had slightly better field position with Sergei Sonaiskov and Nico Hyde pushing forward, getting a nice shot on J-Rab and making it a 2-on-4. But just as it was looking dire for Impact, Alex Goldman and Zach Yakimek stepped up to save the point, with Goldman making a huge creative move to take out Nico and Zach finishing off the point on the D side to take the lead. It was a lead that they would never give up. Impact forced Heat to concede the next point, as they shot Sam Monville off the break and won a few gunfights. Down by 2, Ryan Moorhead and Nico Hyde made it interesting and gave Heat a chance to stay in the tournament by winning a point. but they only had 30 seconds left to push forward and try to tie. The game ended in a car crash, but Joshua Met, fresh back from retirement, was the last body alive to seal the win for Impact and eliminate Heat from the tournament.
You need to look into that because they pulled 2 guys.
Oh, they did pull 2 guys?
Which guy did they pull?
The Cali and the guy behind him. Unless the other guy behind him was shot in there.
The fucking corner guys, they got a minor too.
It was really close, but I mean, with 30 seconds, you don't have any chance to sit back, do anything like that. So all our guys had to push, and they only got a minor. We'll be pretty far behind now because I assume we'll get a 5th place this event most likely. That's a 1st and 2/5 is pretty bad, where if we would have knocked them out, they would have been guaranteed at least like a 7th or an 8th, which would have put us up a lot. So we got 2 events left, and we care about winning events, not winning points. So once we lose, I don't really care that much.
It came as no surprise to anyone that San Antonio X Factor made it through to Sunday. But though they beat Infamous, Aftershock, and shut out the Ironmen, they dropped their last prelim game to the Russian Legion. Sure enough, because Legion had fought their way out of the wildcard round, it was the Russians that San Antonio X Factor would immediately have to rematch in the quarterfinals. The game did not start out well for X Factor. They couldn't stop the 1-2-3 combo of Smotroff and the Snake, Karslev and the Doritos, and Alexander Birtnikov following up the attack. They dropped the first 3 points. Anytime the Russians would lose one of their young attackers, the other players on the team would pick up the slack. The Russians were looking unstoppable and nothing was working for the boys from Texas. But down by 3 with 7:35 to go, X Factor's fortune started to change. Legion decided to go heavy guns, pocket play, but they couldn't shoot Billy as he dove into the Snake. Then Karslev took the early walk. LJ Woodley made a move on Smotroff in the center as Billy made it past the 50 in the Snake. And then Archie Montemayor joined the party, running down the D side to hit the buzzer. Legion lost 2 bodies off the break in the next point, but X Factor drew a penalty, which evened up the count. Then Golev got a penalty, leaving just Birtnikov. Even though he did get a kill, he couldn't hold off all 3 attacking bodies, and X Factor pulled within 1. X Factor took a risk with Billy Bernaccia and sent him to the Snake off the break. He made it clean, but Smotroff was able to secondary into the Snake as well. Karslev was shot out of the tower on the D side, and not long after that, Archie Montemayor was shot out of his spot as well. It was 4-on-4. And then Smotroff lost a crucial gunfight, and X Factor started pushing with their 1-body advantage with little over a minute to go. Golev and Birtnikov tried to hold out, but Goff, Bernaccia, Woodley, and Roberts closed out with smart moves to tie the game and force an overtime.
Fascinating things about the way the strategy is developing on this conservative layout is that the teams that are starting to have slightly more aggressive breaks, you know, taking D3 off the break.
For sure.
If you've seen a couple Snake 1 off the break from Smotroff. Now Smotroff could he needs 10% more chill, man.
So close, man.
He needs 10% tighter in his bunkers because he keeps getting clipped in these crucial spots.
In overtime, Bernaccia took the Snake off the break. It was 5 alive for both squads until John Woodley got shot out of his bunker. Smotroff then went into the Snake. Bernaccia was taking a ton of fire in his position and playing tight. Then both of the Russians' young emerging stars, Smotroff and Karslev, died out of their spots at the same time, throwing away a 5-on-4 situation. The last 3 Russians crossed it up and held on, but Archie Montemayor and Colt Roberts forced their way through to win the match with only 15 seconds left. The Russians went home disappointed, and X Factor moved on into the semifinals.
Hey guys, I'm here with Grayson Goff. Congratulations on winning that overtime point against Moscow Red Legion. Now, I want to ask you, when you guys were tied 3-3, you saw that penalty go up and the Russians running down. Did your heart sink at all for a millisecond?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the worst thing you could see. I knew it was on our side. It was close enough. I was like, oh, you know what? And I should have stayed to the left. I didn't know Archie had the cross, but yeah, immediate how do I save this point? You know, try to shoot a few guys running down the field.
Yeah, it was a slight gift there that he was literally like half a second away from hitting that buzzer. But what was your guys' strategy going into that overtime point?
I mean, we want to play people 5 alive on this field. So if we can keep 5 alive, I believe in my guys that we can pull a point out. No matter what spots they take off the break or where they get, just staying 5 alive and working it out.
One thing for us, that was huge is that when we go down 3-0, it's hard for us to mentally come back, and we stayed mentally tough, and we were able to come back and take the victory. I believe next we're going to play Edmonton Impact, so the real test starts now. Impact's Impact. We all know their record against us, so just time for us to fine tune the little things and stay focused and just play mistake free.
San Diego Dynasty went undefeated in the prelims. Though all 4 games were relatively close, they beat Elevation by 3, PC Katana by 2, and Thunder and AC Dallas by 1. Dynasty looked strong and in control. By beating Revo in overtime, the Ironmen would match up against their longtime Southern California rivals in the quarterfinals. The Ironmen, already warmed up, rolled guns early, and took the first point when both Brandon Short and Ryan Greenspan walked off right after the break. Dynasty answered back with a perfect point. They shot Alan Golding on the break and took all the ground in the center, won gunfights as they moved up the field to tie the game. With the score sitting 1-1, both teams initially stayed in the pocket and tried to shoot bodies off the break. As Spica made his move into the snake, a penalty was assessed on the Ironman, which brought a quick concession and a 1-point lead for Dynasty. Golding died again at the start of the next point, and Greenspan took ground in the center, where he went back and forth shutting down the snake side and the D side. Brandon Short got into the snake and stayed tight as he pushed past the 50 into snake 3. The Ironman's Bobby Avilas tried to turn the tables in the point, bunkered out Greenspan and got another kill, turning it into a 3-on-3. But Yosh Rao, Brandon Short, and Marcelo Margot were able to play smart and tight and win a key point for Dynasty as they went up 3-1. Dynasty now had the momentum and followed up with another perfect point. The Ironmen were able to shoot Marcelo right away in the next point, but then got another penalty. Then Blake Yarber died to make it 3-on-3. With the 3-point lead, Dynasty ran time off the clock. The Ironmen had to start recklessly gunfighting, losing Bobby Avilas and Damian Ryan in the process. That made it 5 unanswered points for Dynasty. Dynasty won the next one as well to make it 6. And though the Ironmen did put one more point on the board, it was another solid victory for Dynasty, and they advanced into the semifinals.
Marcelo Margot with Team Dynasty. We just got finished with our quarterfinal match against the LA Ironmen. Ended up winning 6-2. It was a battle. Honestly, the score doesn't really show how the match went. Each point was really back and forth. We just ended up coming out on top. We got a nice lead, and then they had to come into our guns. So they've been playing hot all weekend. It was a good win for us. Now we're on to play AC Dallas.
Let's take a look at the brackets and how these teams got here. It started off this morning in the wild card match. Ironman winning a close one against Revo. They went on to play San Diego Dynasty, and then also Tampa Bay Damage had a lead early on against Red Legion, but Red Legion able to get back in that one, win that game. Then we head on to the quarters. New York Xtreme got defeated by AC Dallas. That's how they got to the semis. And then San Diego Dynasty got a win against Los Angeles Ironmen. Heat lost to Edmonton Impact, and then San Antonio X Factor, close game against Red Legion. They prevailed there. So the stage is set here, Todd.
The first point of the semifinal game between Dynasty and AC Dallas was a close 7-minute long chess match, which went move, counter move. Starting with John Jackson bunkering out Ryan Greenspan in the center. After that, Dynasty played the aggressor, getting Brandon Short into the snake, and made some good moves to put the pressure on with Yarber on the D side and Margot up the center trying to close. But AC Dallas was tight on the defense and went up by 1. Next point, AC Dallas sent John Jackson all the way to the crucial mini-wall bunker in the center, and he lost his first engagement. But Dynasty lost both Ryan Greenspan and Tyler Harmon. With the lead and the body count advantage on this slow field, AC was content to burn off the clock, and after Brandon Short got shot trying to get into the snake, Rusty Glaze, Dynasty's coach, was forced to concede the point. AC Dallas took a 2-0 lead with just under 6 minutes to go. Again in the next point, AC Dallas had their shots dialed in, shooting both Ryan Greenspan and Yarber. But Dynasty shot 2 bodies as well to even up the count. TJ Danner was shot trying to get out wide and then received a penalty, which gave Dynasty the point. AC Dallas received another penalty in the next point as well, giving Dynasty another gift to tie the game. It was anyone's match tied 2-2, with 1 minute and 30 seconds left as the last point began. Dynasty risked Short out wide, and AC Dallas kept 3 guns shooting center and snake side. Brandon didn't make it. Just when it looked like the teams were content to sit in their bunkers and run out regulation time, AC Dallas started making moves up the field and shot out Blake Yarber. Ryan Hall got into the snake, and Matt Jackson ran through the center of the field to win the game with just 5 seconds to go and push AC Dallas into the finals for the second time since they went pro in 2015.
Just in time so that Matt Jackson could run through and shoot him in the back, and Ryan Hall able to live on that snake side of the field. So Ryan Hall has had his struggles over here on the snake side, but pretty competent game here for him.
Look at that roar from Matt Jackson.
Yeah. So AC Dallas going to be making the finals for the first time here in 2018. Is it finally going to be their chance to win an event?
Ryan had a rough day yesterday, and I felt it really emotionally messed with him for like the next 5 hours. And so literally last night, like midnight, pulled him out of the hotel and had a heart-to-heart with him. He's an amazing player. We love him on the team. He has to be as confident in himself as we are in him. And so today, he came out, played his butt off, so he did good.
The mental game is serious. That's something I've talked to every team about, especially Impact. They have a lot of years playing pros, so they've got time to build that confidence more than you guys do. How do you keep your mental capacity, especially when you're going into such a high-pressure situation? How do you keep yourself cool, calm, and confident?
Well, like I've watched the Dynasty kids since I was like your guys, since I was like 14 years old, and so playing against those and guys and beating them, like even though we're excited beating them, like we love the guys still, right? We look up to them. So Impact, they're stacked. They've got a good squad. I mean, what is your other option? Quit, give up, right? Be defeated beforehand. You got to go out there and give it your all and bust your ass. And I mean, you just have to get it. Otherwise, you're done before you start.
Impact and X Factor are no strangers to playing each other deep into the tournament on Sunday. Since X Factor's victory over Impact at the World Cup in 2013, they have met in the finals 3 times and the semifinals 5 times. And in every single game, Impact has walked away with the victory. Since that World Cup victory, Impact has been X Factor's kryptonite on Sunday. The first point looked like luck might be changing for X Factor as Impact dropped Dalton Vanderbilt on the break. Bodies went back and forth. Longtime star Colt Roberts clocked in with the 4-pack to help X Factor take the early lead.
It was a 4-on-3 situation, now a 2-on-3, and look at this. Colt Roberts comes and punks out Yakimak and then also gets a shot on J-Rab. Colt Roberts is fired up right now.
30 seconds.
But in point number 2, Billy Bernacchi and Colt Roberts were both shot out early. Impact was able to close out the 5-on-3, working X Factor out of their spots with no problems to tie the game. Next, Bernacchi made the snake off the break, but was shot trying to move forward. X Factor was able to get a shot on one met to even up the counter. Alex Goldman went into the snake. Colt Roberts went into counter. After a long battle, Impact got the shot on Roberts. Goff was killed trying to get into better position, forcing the concession. Impact went up 2-1. In the last point, Bernacchi got shot off the break. X Factor could not get a shot on Alex Goldman, who was able to get out wide and spread the field. Impact then lost Brandon Cornell, and it was 4-on-4. Archie Montemayor made a big move on the D side past the 50, putting pressure on Impact's line at the 2-minute mark. Players started to launch as the bodies started dropping. Goldman made another big move to bunker out Colt Roberts in the snake and put a stop to the attack. Woodley tried to move in the center, but he also died. X Factor conceded with just under a minute left to give themselves a fighting chance. But they ended up not having enough time, and Impact was able to defeat them yet again and move on into the finals.
I got to witness, I've been witnessing this, and to see Justin play his brother in the finals, this is going to be an awesome moment for me to sit on the sidelines and root for both of them.
Oh, my brother? You must be talking about my brother. Yeah, honestly,
pretty exciting for you. I mean,
it's exciting to see him like over there, but at the same time, like it's not even something that's going through my head. Literally, I take every team the same. It doesn't matter who's on the other side, whether it's Ryan Greenspan or my brother, or if I'm playing against my own guys. To me, and in my head, I don't care. Like I don't care who's on the other side. I'm going to do what I need to do to get the victory, and that's all I can do to be a professional at this level. You can't worry about any outside stuff and worry about who's on the other side or what the other team's doing or what they're talking about. You just got to play your game and do your thing.
Is this on camera? Is this live?
This is not live.
Okay, who am I going to root for? Brandon hasn't won a game. Hasn't won a pro tournament. AC hasn't won a pro tournament. Yeah, I'm going for Brandon. Sorry, man. I got to. I mean, Impact has won everything, but AC, they've worked for this moment, and sorry, Justin. Got to go with Brandon on this one.
I think Impact just needs to keep playing their game. I think that they've been taking risks on the break. They've been paying off. I think their communication is great, but they've been getting really big contributions from the starting 5 that they've kind of picked, right? They've been switching guys on both sides of the field a little bit, but not as much. Certain guys aren't getting on the field right now. The big guys that are doing the damage are Dalton Vanderbilt and Alex Goldman. The guys in the middle with the support, Justin Rabikoff out of that back center, they just need to keep shooting bodies on the break and controlling the tempo of the game like they have been. JC is a stunner player for them. He's not seeing the field so much. Nick Laval, I believe, is only playing one side of the field. Rainey Stanzak, who's been probably one of my votes for MVP for the season.
Your thoughts on AC Dallas? What do you think AC Dallas needs to do to contend with the best team in paintball?
They need to shoot that last guy that Todd brought up. They need to shoot Alex Goldman. He's the one that kind of single-handedly beat us. Not to take anything away from the 4 other guys that are consistently going out there and playing for impact, but his moves and making it out wide and being that weapon on the Snake side is just incredible. But, you know, you look at the AC Dallas squad, they pick up Waring. They've got Brandon Rabakoff as a rookie out there, and they've been running essentially the same line we've seen for a while. And they play solid. This field kind of suits them, but that's the one thing that could also be their weakness. They need to know when to push it and to pull the trigger. And the one thing that we have to see with the way this game develops, if AC Dallas gets put in a situation where they need to push, well, can they do that?
In the first point, Justin Rabakoff set the tone for the game, as he was able to cut up the center of the field, moving forward against 5 guns, getting 2 kills, shooting the Jackson brothers. Alex Goldman won a gunfight with Ryan Hall, and quickly, it was 1-0 impact. In the next point, Goldman made it out wide even with 3 guns shooting his way, and Justin Rabakoff again moved up the center on a delay. But impact lost Wilmette, giving AC Dallas a 1-body advantage. But then they lost John Jackson to even up the count. Impact started moving forward with Goldman in the Snake, and Dalton Vanderbilt and J-Rab getting past the 50 in the center and on the D side. Impact's coordinated moves and tight gunfights were too much for AC, and Impact went up by 2.
And it looks like AC Dallas is going to save the time.
The heavy guns up game plan worked for AC Dallas in the next point, as they were finally able to shoot Goldman in his first engagement. Impact also drew a penalty on Wilmette, which made it easy for AC Dallas to put up their first point on the board. Keith Brown then came in for Goldman, and Impact rolled out with a more conservative break, which paid off, as they took out Matt Jackson. Dalton Vanderbilt started Impact's push on the D side, and again their coordinated attack was unstoppable. And even though they lost a few bodies, Keith Brown finished off the point with a clean 2-pack. The score then sat 3-1 with 3 minutes left, and on this slow field, AC Dallas knew that they needed to win this point in order to have a real chance for a comeback. They almost jumped the gun at the start, but AC Dallas was able to get out alive, and it was 5-on-5. Then Matt Jackson was the first to take the walk, followed by Brad McCurley, and Impact went up another point.
There goes Ryan Hall gets into, they need to just blow it right now. There we go. So now Edmonton Impact going up by 3. Oh no, it doesn't look good for AC Dallas. Edmonton Impact just too hard of a task for him right now. Can't seem to crack the code.
Matt Jackson stormed up the middle and got a brutal 4-pack to finish, win the next point for AC Dallas. And it showed heart, but it wasn't enough. It was a definitive win for the top-ranked team in the world. They had their redemption from the last event against Heat in the quarterfinals. They then continued their domination against X Factor in the semifinals, and they outclassed AC Dallas in the final to take yet another victory and solidify their position at the top. But could they keep that position, with the other teams getting more hungry, more confident, more skilled? We would next head to Chicago for the 4th event to find out.
Hey, way to beat up on each other. Way to pull it together. There you go, Omelet. There you go, Omelet. Let's go. We won. We did it. We did it. We did it.
Let's go, boys. Hey, good job. Good job.
Get out here. This is all you get. This is all you get. Y'all weren't here so much, it wouldn't be a fucking problem. No. They don't need me in the picture. I'm famous enough.
Where's your dog, Tom?
I don't really think that we would want to play anybody else in the finals. You want to always play the best, and then, you know, if you're good enough to beat the best, then you know that you are the best that day. So for us, I mean, we just kind of like to play Impact every single time, you know, make it to the finals. We definitely on the attack path to figure out how to get better by the time Chicago comes around. Thanks for the support. Guys work real hard, and whenever we see somebody cheer for us, it means a lot. So we want to thank everybody out there that roots for, you know, the little 4 underdogs.
Did we get first place next time?
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't go back and work our butts off if we weren't going to plan on getting first. Thank you.